So now we're going to have some fun talking about another interesting class in Java concurrent programming called the FutureTask. And I'm going to talk about FutureTask in general first, but where we're headed with this is we're going to see how we can use a FutureTask to address the limitation that we identified with the previous version of the prime checker app, where it relied on a Java 8 concurrent hash map feature, which was the compute if absent feature. And we'll see how FutureTask lets you implement something equivalent to compute if absent if you are not fortunate enough to be able to use Java 8 or beyond. So you can work with older legacy systems. And there's still plenty of people out there who have not moved into the brave new world of modern Java, strangely enough. It's kind of hard to believe, but that's true. So we're going to talk about how FutureTask can be used to give the result from some computation that runs in a background thread to threads that need the results from that background thread. So FutureTask is a very interesting class. It's an implementation of Future, which you can see if you take a close look here. You can see that FutureTask implements Future, it implements Runnable, and it implements Runnable Future. So actually, Runnable Future implements Future and Runnable. Or actually, Runnable Future implements Runnable and Future, and therefore, FutureTask implements Runnable and Future indirectly through Runnable Future. It's a bit of a mouthful, but you'll see how this all works out in a second. There are several capabilities that FutureTask provides, and the one thing I want you to see is just sort of the richness of FutureTask's interface. So as you can see here, FutureTask implements Runnable Future, which has a run method defined on it, and of course also implements all the methods from Future. And therefore, FutureTask also implements all the methods from Future and Runnable. Plus, it also goes ahead and adds a little bit of extra stuff, which I don't show you here, but we'll talk about. So here are some of the things you can do with a FutureTask. You can start and cancel a computation that runs asynchronously. And by far, the most common way of using a FutureTask is to pass it to run in a thread pool that's managed by the Java thread pool executor. So either a fixed size thread pool or a cached thread pool or so on and so forth. So FutureTask is an out-of-the-box implementation of the Future interface, and so you can use it for things that expect to be given tasks, namely runnables, but they also want to act as futures. You can also use a FutureTask to see if a computation has completed, either successfully or unsuccessfully, or was canceled. So you can use these methods which come from Future to see, has this object been canceled? Is this object done? And then you can get the results, of course, if it's done. And then the final thing you can do with the FutureTask is you can get the results, and you can get them either by blocking if they're not already computed, or you can give it a timeout, which could be 0, in order to poll or do a timed poll. So these are basically mostly methods that are obtained from Future. And then the run method, of course, is the one that's used to actually run. So it's used to do the computation itself. All right, so that's all there is for FutureTask. It's a very simple interface, but it's used in some really cool ways, and we're going to talk about those in a second.